back to the channel. I hope you're doing really well. And this is the Asian Cup 2024 technically, but it was meant to take place last summer. 2024/2023 predictions. So yesterday we did the Africa Cup of Nations one. So today is the time for Asia as we look to try and predict the tournament. And I'm really excited. I think this one's going to be a very good tournament as well, alongside AFCON. AFCON, of course, is going to get more of the coverage because more Premier League players are leaving and etc. But I think the Asian Cup is also going to be very good as well. So, anyways, the group stage. So the first group we've got here is Qatar, Tajikistan, China, and Lebanon. I think this group is interesting. It's a proper group of life. I think Lebanon, if they can fix up, they can easily qualify as well out of this group. At the moment, I got them in fourth. They went away to Bangladesh and drew, so I don't think that's a great sign. They also looked really poor against Palestine. I'm not sold on Lebanon. China also I'm not really sold on, to be honest, but I think this sort of group will help them out, and I think that result against Thailand maybe give them a bit more confidence going into these games. I think they can easily end up with 3 points, 3 draws, and I think they might just qualify based on that. But honestly, I'm not expecting much from China at this Asian Cup. They're on a downward spiral, and don't be surprised if they actually do finish fourth. Tajikistan, I think Tajikistan, I'll be shocked if they do not make it out of this group. Personally, they are improving. They have shown signs of what they can do. They are a very well coached side. Peter Sargent has done a really good job with them, in my opinion. And Tajikistan are going to be very difficult to beat, but they also got that quality that's going to be needed to score goals in this group. So I've gone second for them. And Qatar, I think they sacked Carlos Queiroz, which is absolutely mad before an Asian Cup, because Carlos Queiroz, whatever you want to say about his style of play, he does get results. So Qatar sacking him before a major tournament, it's baffling. Now, for them, it is a home tournament, so I think that's why I still back them to top the group. I think they've got a lot of quality. Almoz Ali, Akram Alif, there's a lot of quality. Tariq Hamid, there is a lot of quality with this Qatar side, and definitely enough to get out of this group. Maybe the new manager bounce does something weird, who knows? So that's why I've gone Qatar. So Qatar, in my opinion, will top the group A. Tajikistan will come second. I think China will come third, but qualify as one of the best third place side. And Lebanon will unfortunately exit the tournament at the first hurdle. Group B, we've got Uzbekistan, we've got Australia, we've got India, you've got Syria. So, I start from the bottom. I think Syria will finish bottom in this group. Syria, look, they beat North Korea. That's the only positive result I can think of. But then they got absolutely pummeled by Japan. North Korea, we don't know what's going on with North Korea, so it's hard to judge that game. But to get pummeled like they did against Japan was worrying. The way they lost as well, they were just never in the game, Syria, and that's the worrying part. India, we beat Kuwait away in the big qualifying match. I think Kuwait not being at this tournament is a shock. Personally, I think they should have made it. Against Qatar as well, I thought we impressed in patches. We had chances, another day it could have been a different story. So definitely do not rule us out of third position. I think we're definitely fighting for third. But do not be surprised if we do push one of Australia or Uzbekistan to a 0-0 draw or something like that. Don't be surprised, because I do think there's ability in this team. Now, there's one thing, like, there's a couple of players that main players not in the squad. Anwar Ali's not in the squad. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But I do think there's enough to get out of this group at least. Australia, I said second. I haven't been impressed with them post the World Cup. They have looked a side that's very reliant on the physical aspects of the game. Technically, they're not as good as they used to be before. I thought they had a great World Cup. I thought that was just mainly because Denmark had an awful World Cup and Tunisia actually failed to take their chance, because I thought Tunisia were better than Australia throughout the World Cup campaign. So I think Australia, the recent results as well, they barely beat Palestine. They smashed Bangladesh 7-0, but that's just purely physical aspect. Bangladesh just couldn't match them in terms of physicality. And I think Australia in second. I think Uzbekistan at the moment, despite Edor Shimuradov not going to the Asian Cup, I think Uzbekistan will overtip Australia here. That's my bold prediction from the group stage. Uzbekistan will come first. Uzbekistan pushed Iran at the recent World Cup qualification. They were 2-0 down. Uzbekistan fought hard to even get back into the game, and that shows they are a very difficult team. And this is a team you can definitely not take lightly, in my opinion. And that's why I have gone with Uzbekistan in first position, Australia in second. I think India are going to be the qualifying based on the third place position. I think we can get a result against one of Uzbekistan or Australia and I definitely do think we can beat Syria at the current moment in time. Group C is UAE, Iran, Palestine, Hong Kong. So let's start with the bottom. I think Hong Kong going to finish bottom. Hong Kong did beat China recently. I think it was like yesterday in a friendly. So maybe they can push Palestine. I don't know. But if I look at the result as a whole, it's not been the greatest. Drew with Turkmenistan. They're a very, very mixed bag at the moment, Hong Kong. I don't know, to be honest. I think the Asian Cup is not going to go so well for them. I think bottom of the group, I think Palestine, UAE, Iran are just going to be too good for them physically, even technical standard point of view. Palestine in third, they are going to finish third in my opinion. I think they could potentially challenge Iraq or UAE to a draw, but I think they're just not going to have enough in the tank to see out a draw. But don't be surprised if they do get one, because I think Palestine are a good team. They're a very underrated team in the AFC. To be honest, FIFA ranking says they're actually quite fairly rated, but if you look at the AFC section, they're quite underrated. A very physical team, very mobile team, very robust team, and I think they are going to cause some problems at the Asian Cup for sure for anyone who does play them indeed. I think it's a surprise again. I think Iran are going to finish second. I think Iran have been highly unconvincing under the new manager. Of course, you got the Taremi, you got your Moons, but if you're just not playing well, I've seen Iran play a couple of times and they just don't play well. And I think a team like UAE, this is their greatest chance to overtip Iran here, because Iran are not in a great place. Sardar Azmoun, we don't know if he's even going to join up with the squad before the knockout stages. So there's a lot of chaos going on with the Iranian football scene at the moment. And I think second is the best they're going to get. I think they can top it on their day if things do indeed go well. But I think UAE at the moment are in a better place. UAE are going to top this group. UAE beat Bahrain. UAE showed great composure against Costa Rica. They played really well against Costa Rica. So the positives are there. Paulo Bento has got a really good philosophy across to this UAE side. And I think it's going to bear fruit at this Asian Cup. Personally, in my opinion, they're a much better team than what they were a couple of years ago. I like what I see from the stylistic point of view as well, and that's why I got UAE in first. Group D, in my opinion, is Japan, Iraq, Vietnam, Indonesia. I think Vietnam and Indonesia are both going to miss out. I don't think neither are going to have enough to beat Iraq, and I don't think they're going to have enough to really beat each other as well. So this is my first third place side to get knocked out. It's going to be Vietnam. I think Indonesia are more likely to concede more goals against Japan and Iraq. I think that's my only reason why I put them forward. But I think them and Vietnam are in a pretty similar level personally. Iraq are going to finish second. I think they'll beat both Vietnam and Indonesia, qualify for the next stage quite comfortably. I think they'll lose to Japan though. Japan are just going to be too good for them, in my opinion. Japan in first position, in my humble opinion. I think they're just looking way too strong for the Asian Cup at the moment. They look really good. They put 5 past Thailand yesterday, and some of the players in that game did not even get picked for the Asian Cup, so that just shows the riches they have at the moment personally with Japan. Group B, we got South Korea, you got Bahrain, you got Jordan, you got Malaysia. I think Malaysia are an interesting team. They'll definitely score a lot of goals. I think they can beat Jordan. I'm just backing Jordan at the moment to beat Malaysia. But don't be surprised if Malaysia do beat Jordan, because Malaysia do have the attacking firehouse to definitely trouble this Jordanian team. The only issue I have with Malaysia is that defensively not great, and I think that's not ideal if you want to be a good knockout team. Defense has to be your number one priority. And Malaysia, they can probably score 2 or 3, but they can very easily give away 4 or 5. They conceded 3 against Kyrgyzstan, so I don't feel confident with that Malaysian defense. That's why I said bottom. Jordan have looked not so good. They lost to even Saudi, an awful Saudi Arabia recently in the World Cup qualifiers. They barely won against Tajikistan. So I think third is the best they're going to get in this group, to be honest. Bahrain in second, pity. I think Bahrain are going to be a lot of fun this time around. High-octane attacking football. It could play into the hands of the opposition with the Bahrain not being quite there as a team that's able to play technical high-pressing football. But I think if they can make sure that it's coming off regularly, the high-pressing sequences, when they're on the ball, they're making the right decision, they will trouble a lot of teams. That's why I've gone second, but don't think they're going to be anywhere near South Korea's level. South Korea, I think they have turned a bit of a corner. I am backing Jurgen Klinsmann. They have turned a bit of a corner here. I think the quality in that South Korea team is just way too good to be not top in this group. You got Kim Min-jae at the back, you got Son, you got Kang In Lee. So many difference makers. And if the tournament like the Asian Cup, the games are going to be tight. It's not going to be like many teams are just going to blow each other away. It will be tactical. So if you've got quality players, that is always an advantage in my opinion. And that's why I think South Korea will top this group. Group F, pretty substandard average group, I won't lie. You got Saudi, you got Oman, you got Kyrgyzstan, you got Thailand. I think Saudi should be topping this group. 9 points. No excuses. They should be topping this group. Because the other 3 teams just looks absolutely woeful. So Saudi, I think minimum 9 points. No excuses for me. Oman, being on a downward, barely beat Chinese Taipei 3-0, looked poor. They went away to Kyrgyzstan and lost. But I think this time they're going to play Kyrgyzstan on a neutral venue, which I think might help Oman a bit more. They look the more settled out of the 3 teams. But I don't really think Oman are going to blow anybody away in this group either. Do not be surprised if they actually do get knocked out as well. Kyrgyzstan, I said 3rd. Easily could be 2nd. If they can actually figure their things out. Now, they actually did lose to somehow Uzbekistan's B team 4-1. So that's not a very positive sign. But I think I'm backing to come on them to come serious by the Asia Cup. And then you got Thailand in 4 who just sacked their manager. So it's a group of shambles, if you want to call it. Because all 4 nations are in absolute shambles, turmoil. So don't be surprised if this group is in any order. I think Saudi will top the group. I think Oman will qualify in 2nd. I think they just got a bit too much for the other 2. Kyrgyzstan 3rd, Thailand 4th. I think this group could literally end in any order. Don't be surprised. Anyway, now we move to the knockouts. So the matchups are looking like this. So you got Tajikistan versus Iran, Japan versus Jordan, Uzbekistan versus China, Saudi versus Bahrain, UAE versus India, South Korea versus Iraq, Qatar versus Palestine, Australia versus Oman. So I think Iran are going to beat Tajikistan. I think in the knockout stages, Iran are just going to have too much for Tajikistan. I think Tajikistan, the improvement is there, but I think against a top nation like Iran, I think they still will come up short. Even if Iran have issues, I think they should be winning against Tajikistan. No excuses there. Japan versus Jordan, I think this is going to be one-sided. Jordan might keep Japan at hold for a bit, but once that first goal goes in this game between Japan and Jordan, I think Jordan are going to get battered personally in this game. I think this could be 2 or 3-0 quite comfortably, to be honest, to the Japanese. Uzbekistan, China, I think Uzbekistan will win. Uzbekistan look very, very good, and I think they will be going to the next round personally, in my opinion, against China. And I think China will not be able to lay a glove on them, really. Saudi versus Bahrain, I think this could go to penalties, extra time. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if this goes to penalties. It's got penalties written all over it. I still think Saudi, with the extra bit of quality, the extra bit of injection they have in the team, could get them over Bahrain. And I think Bahrain, defensively on the pitch, are never going to be that strong. So I think that's what's going to play into Saudi's hands. UAE versus India, I would just be happy if India actually make the knockouts as an Indian fan. If you can make the knockouts, I think it would be great. But if we expect anything more than that, it's really unrealistic. Very unrealistic. I think UAE are a couple of levels above us. I think if we're able to keep UAE in check throughout the game, maybe a 1-0, maybe even a 2-1, something like that, I think I'll be very, very happy. If it can take them to extra time, penalties, even better. But I think we won't lose 4 or 5-0, but I don't think we're going to really have a chance against UAE either. South Korea versus Iraq, I think this one's going to be a tie of the round. This one's going to be close. Iraq in good form, South Korea with the quality. I think South Korea just going to edge it, but I think this one has also got extra time and penalties all over it. Don't be surprised if South Korea do beat Iraq on penalties. Personally, in my opinion. But Iraq will give South Korea a tough time, and I wouldn't be shocked if Iraq do actually knock out South Korea. Because Klinsmann, he hasn't proved himself yet to me that he can take the South Korea's team forward. Qatar versus Palestine, boring game coming up. I think it's going to be a really, really boring game. Don't be surprised if Palestine make it through, but I'm just backing Qatar because of the home factor personally, and I think they've got a lot of quality. But I think this one's going to be the mid tie of the round, if you know, like a very average tie of the round. I don't really think neither are that great. Australia versus Oman, I think Australia will beat Oman. I think even if Australia are not the greatest team, I think this is the type of game they'll get past quite comfortably. I don't think Oman are going to cause that many problems. Anyway, so that's my round of 16 predictions. Iran, Japan, Uzbekistan, Saudi, UAE, South Korea, Qatar, Palestine, Australia. So the quarterfinals look something like this. Iran versus Japan, Uzbekistan versus Saudi, UAE versus South Korea, Australia versus Qatar. I have gone with Japan to beat Iran. I think Iran, this is where Moriarty is just going to absolutely outcoach the Iranian coach. I haven't seen any sort of positive sign from the Iranian coach. I can't remember, was it Amir Gordons? I don't know how to say this guy's name. That's why don't want to pronounce it. But I think Iran are going to be. I think Japan is just going to be way too good for Iran, midfield wise, and I think Japan are going to create a lot more than Iran are. Uzbekistan versus Saudi. One nation on the rise, powerhouse. The other is a powerhouse, but currently seeing a dip and terribly not playing well. So I think Uzbekistan will knock out Saudi Arabia. Uzbekistan will go far in this tournament, I feel personally, and I think they'll knock out Saudi in this moment in time. If actually if Saudi actually do turn up, you never know. But I think I fancy Uzbekistan at the moment. UAE South Korea. I think this one's gonna be an interesting one, but I think UAE will play into the hands of South Korea. Paolo Bento, highly attacking manager, and I fear for him in this type of game because South Korea, with their quality, with space and time, are gonna annihilate you. So I think that's what's gonna be the factor here. I am going with a South Korea win here. Australia versus Qatar. Don't be surprised if this actually does go to penalties as well. I think it's gonna be a really boring tie. I think it's gonna be tactical. Don't be surprised if it goes to penalties, but I think Australia will just make it through. Semi-finals now, so we got Japan take on Uzbekistan, South Korea take on Australia. I have gone with Japan to beat Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan, despite the improvement, are just not on Japan's level. Japan are quite out of this world at the moment compared to other Asian teams. I think Japan will not be able to win this tie. Will win this tie against Uzbekistan. South Korea, Australia, I think this is going to be a tactical game. I think South Korea's quality will get them through this one. And I think Australia, I just don't think Australia I don't rate Australia as highly as other people do. I think they're a good team. I think they're a very solid unit. But quality is not there. And the final is probably the best I think Asian football's got to offer, to be honest. Japan versus South Korea. This game could go in any direction. I think South Korea with Son, Kang In Lee, Kim In Jae. A lot of quality to take on this Japan side, but Japan to have the team spirit, the tactical nous maybe to an extent, and also the quality to absolutely blow South Korea out of the waters. I think Japan will win. I think it's going to be a close final, but I think Japan are just going to have, as well, if you look at the benches, I think the benches are going to play a huge role in this as well. Moriarty has been very good with his substitutions with what I've noticed, so I think that's what's going to win it. And I think Japan will win the Asian Cup. I think for the top scorer, if you really want to know that, I am actually going to go with, I think Son's going to be the top scorer at the Asian Cup. I think player of the tournament as well, I think will be Son. I think that's my prediction. Son is going to have a great Asian Cup. But I think Japan are going to be the better team compared to South Korea, and Japan will win the Asian Cup. Now, let's see what happens. This is my prediction. Hopefully I can get it right. But leave me your opinions in the comments. Leave me your predictions in the comments. I would love to see your guys' predictions in the comments. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please do like and share the video. If you like the video in general, please subscribe. Leave me your opinion in the comments once again. And just like the AFCON, I'll be covering the Asia Cup throughout January. The Asian Cup was going on, and I'm really excited as well. So if you like the video though, and if you're excited for the Asian Cup, do not forget to like and share the video. If you like the channel in general, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow and reach out to more people. And I hope to see you guys later for another video.